I want to bring us all back to Q1 2021. I know that LinkedIn did a big survey to sort of understand the sentiment shift going on with the company and with the managers of the company. And in that survey, from my understanding, about 78% of managers indicated that they felt burnt out. And so I think what was really special about this is this probably also named and brought to awareness. It's probably what a lot of people were feeling in that moment of time. So action, organization-wide, and including, but not limited to, a company-wide week off, which at the time from the outside really felt like a bold and courageous move to take into account employee wellness and well-being. And so I was wondering, just to begin, can you bring us back to that Q1 2021, bring us into the room together? What were you all noticing with your teams, and what was really going through your minds as leaders of the organization with what was going on? Bring us to that moment.
Sure, I'll start us off. I'll actually take you back a little bit further than that. I'll take you back to when we started really working from home, which was probably like a year before that, in the spring of the previous year. And we thought, we'd be away for 3 weeks and we'd be back at work. And things changed dramatically. In those first few months, as we were looking at signals on productivity and trying to see if people at LinkedIn were being productive, we noticed actually a jump in productivity. Like, we noticed more code check-ins, but just in general, people were working more and they were working longer hours, and they were being very productive. But this was also the first time we started asking ourselves, so people are productive, are they well? And when you talk about Q1 2021, so almost a year later, we really started seeing the impact of what felt like people being tired of being at home all the time, not having connections with colleagues and being in the office, and feeling that burnout that you described. And it was a bit of a lagging indicator, but by the time we got to Q1 2021, it was pretty obvious that people were tired in all the signals they were giving us.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that we would add, when we kind of started to do those surveys, we were doing them all along. So we've always done quarterly check-ins to understand how our employees are feeling. But for this set of data, what we also learned was that when we started to look at how much time were people taking off, people weren't taking, the time off. They weren't getting rest. They weren't doing the typical things that you would do outside of a pandemic. Take a vacation, go spend time with your family, do something to recharge. We weren't seeing any of that. So one of the steps we took was to say, we will incorporate an opportunity for people to do this company-wide. So we put in an additional week of rest. So we always have shutdowns. We have one in July. We have one in the holiday time in December to kind of get that break between ending a calendar year and starting a new one. But this was specific. This was to say, hey, we're not seeing people rest, and we want to encourage our employees to take a break and to really focus on self-care. So that additional week of rest was brought in April, and the whole company stopped globally, and it made it possible for people to say, it's okay for me to put myself first right now and take a break.
And I would just add on a personal note, and also what I heard from so many of the employees is, when you decide to do something like that, you think, hey, this is a great idea, but how it actually feels at the end of it, everyone didn't realize how much they needed this. I personally needed it, and it was hard to stop and take a break. I'm going to meet some friends, I'm going to go on a vacation, I'm going to do all this planning, and you take a break and you're just at home. So it was a very different type of break, but it was something that everyone needed, and everyone came back just re-energized, and we realized how much we needed, and we shared what we did on the break, whether we learned how to cook or do other types of activities. It just was a new exploration, I think, of ourselves, and LinkedIn gave us that time to do it. So very rewarding in many ways that we didn't even realize it would be.
And I can imagine this is very different from someone taking a leave for a few weeks, because while that's happening, you also have the whole company running. You have a lot of emails, things are going on, so you have anxiety and hard to really put a peace in mind. But this is so different. A global company sat down or a rest for a week, that just guarantee there's no, like, you really have a peace of mind.
Well, I'm just going to say, I think that's one of the beauties of the process, is you really get to take a break. So when you ask the entire company to kind of lean back and rest, you don't come back to a mountain of emails or a mountain of work that never really went away, because everyone's taking that same pause. So you're right. It's a plus to have the whole company do it simultaneously versus, like you said, an individual choice to take some time or a break.